You have time. You have time to go to the gym. You have time to read. You have time to spend time with family. You have time to hang out with friends. You have time to do whatever it is that you want to do. The problem is, you don't want to do it. See, you make time for what you want to do. If you really wanted to do something, you would make time for it. Think about how much time you spend watching TV, playing video games, scrolling on your phone on social media, watching movies, whatever it may be. Just think about how much time you spend doing the things that are trivial and how much you say you don't have time to do, quote unquote, what you want to do. It only takes an hour to go to the gym. It only takes 15 minutes a day to read a book in a couple weeks or a month. You make time for what you want to do. And it takes discipline to discard the things that are trivial and do the things that you need to do. You want to be someone who is independent, financially independent. You want to be someone who is healthy. You want to be somebody who reads a lot. You want to be somebody who learns a new language. And you need the discipline to do those things, to make time for those things, because they're not just going to make time for themselves. There's so much cheap instant gratification nowadays that if you don't be intentional with your time and make time for the things that you want, then you won't get them. Time goes by very, very fast. Life is short. And if you don't make time for these things, then there will never be time. Everyone's busy. Everyone has stuff going on. Everybody has something they could be doing. But the people who get around to building a business on the side, to going to the gym every day, to reading, to writing, are the people who make time for it, who sacrifice cheap instant gratification, satisfied doing things that, are fun and they might want to do them, but they sacrifice those because they have a desire to become something, to get something, to have a better future than they feel the present is. So you truly do make time for what you want to do. And it takes discipline to make that time, because sometimes you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to want to go to the gym when you've worked all day and you're tired and you just want to sleep. And it's going to take discipline to go and do that. But it gets easier the more you do it. And something you just can't say, because it's not true, is I don't have time. You have time. You just don't make the time to do it. Very, very, very few people don't have time. And these are the people who work like 3 jobs or own their own business and work like 16 hours a day. And even then, I would say, to the later, that you shouldn't work 16 hours a day. You're being almost unproductive, I believe, in some ways. All those things you're doing don't need to be done by you. If you can outsource an activity that you do that takes time to someone who can do it just as good as you or better, then you should do that. So you can focus more on other things, whether that be with the business or with your life. But you truly do make time for the things that you want to do. So never tell yourself or tell anyone, I don't have time. Instead, say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make time to do that. Because that's an honest answer. The honest answer is not, I don't have time. If you sleep 10 hours a day, you have time to do something for 2 hours, because you don't need to sleep 10 hours a day. And if you sleep 8 hours a day, you realistically don't need that either. I mean, you can sleep 7 or 6 hours a day. I mean, you'll be tired, but if you really wanted to do it, you'd wear yourself out doing it. You'd go through the day tired. You would do these things. And I'm not saying that's healthy. I'm not saying you should do that. But if you truly wanted to do it, you would sacrifice sleep for it. So don't say you don't have enough time, because that's just a lie. And if you don't have time now, you'll never have time, because you have to make time. There's, like I said, there's always something to fill the calendar with. There's always something to do. But you need to be, there's like the trap of being productive. And, leisure is very important. And contemplation and philosophical discourse with yourself, I believe, is important. But you make time for these things, and you make time for other things. So you don't get in the optimizing productive train of thought and just trying to be as most productive as possible. But there is probably something you're doing that could be, the time could be shortened down a bit. There's a bit more optimal way of doing it, and then there's time right there. You just need to look at what you're doing if you truly think you don't have time. And I believe most people know they have time. They just know they're not making time for it. But if you're one of those persons who thinks they truly don't have time to do something that they quote unquote want to do, look at your day to day and look to where you can, you can shorten this down by 5 minutes and shorten that down by 10 minutes and shorten that down by 30 minutes. And then boom, right there, you have 45 minutes. And you can do so much with 45 minutes. If consistent 45 minutes a day is, a very, very long time. Let's just round up to an hour for numbers' sake. And, 7 hours a week, 7 times 52 is 364, maybe. Oh yeah, 5. I could have just done an hour every day. 1 times 365. I went the hard way, but I got close. That's my math on the spot for you guys. But yeah, you make time for what you want to do. So don't lie to yourself and say, I don't have time. Be honest with yourself and say, I don't want to make time. And maybe you just saying that will light the spark in you and say, no, I'm not a person who does that. I'm a person who makes time for my future and makes times for the things that matter to me and makes time for me to develop and become a better person and gain more skills and whatever it may be. You have time.